What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Cream Reviews, and I attended Marvel Superheroes Magic the Gathering pre-release. Here's what I found out, the deck that I built, and what I think about the format and the set going forward. Let's get into it. So first things first, my pre-release promo, which is not stamped anymore. I kind of hate that Wizards stopped doing that. Wizards, bring back the stamped promo so I know which one is my promo card from pre-release. But mine was the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which is one of the best rares in the set. It's 1 and triple green for a 4/4 legendary squirrel human hero. Whenever it enters or attacks, I create a 1/1 squirrel creature token. Then I can pay 1 green to create X 1/1 green squirrel tokens, where X is the number of squirrels I control. So this is a bomb rare, and when I opened it, I knew that I wanted to go green because it's such a good card. You can overwhelm the board, especially in a limited environment like pre-release, where there isn't too many answers for it. The set does have good removal, but for the most part, I was going to get a bunch of squirrels out of this, and I never actually cast the card. Yeah, so I can't tell you how it would have worked out, but I knew the deck was going to be heavy green. The pool didn't really support green. The other color I chose to go with was red. I like Gruul. It's one of my favorite color combinations in Magic. So the red could support the green. I got some good removal, as you'll see, but I knew I wanted to go heavy green, so this is what we came up with. So the whole reason we built the deck was the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Serpent Specialist is a 1 mana 1/1 Death Toucher with power up 3 and a green to put 2+1/+1 counters on it. 1 mana 1/1s aren't particularly good in limited. I was running really low on creatures, and this just happens to be a green creature, so I knew I was going to play it regardless. Never actually drew the card, didn't end up playing it. I'm sure it would have worked out okay. Now on to the 2-drops. Undercover Scroll is a 1/1 for 1 and a green. As long as there are 2 or more creature cards in your graveyard, this creature gets +2/+2 and becomes all creature types. More importantly, though, it adds 1 mana of any color, and you'll see later on why the mana production of this creature mattered so much in the deck. And it also gave me villain as well as hero synergies. I forgot to say that about the specialist as well. It is a villain. So in the early game, my game plan revolved around the villain subtype. But later on in the game, becomes more about heroes. So that's a weird deck building quirk that my pool gave me, but this did the job. Just adding mana was good enough, so it made the deck. Hydra Assault Robot is 1 and a red for a 1/3 artifact creature robot villain. Whenever another villain and or artifact enters, this creature deals 1 damage to target opponent. So I wasn't going to play this initially, but I was running really low on 2-drops. In the limited environment, you really want to have a mass of 2-drops because you want your curve to be low so you can make sure you get on board and you don't get run over. This gave me a little bit of reach. There's not a ton of villains. The first 2 creatures you saw were villains, and I did add an artifact as my 23rd card to make this a little better, but I did have 2 of them, and they worked out okay. They gave me some reach. Tigra Feline Fury is a 1 and a green flash trample. Whenever I gain life, I put a +1/+1 counter on her. I think there's only 1 other card in the deck that helps me gain life, so this didn't really come up, and I didn't actually play this card. It was just in the deck as a 2-drop. So that's, our pool was really screaming for playable cards. So just play the 2-drops we have. Don't really worry about the text on them. As long as they're on board and they're attacking, that was good enough for me. Kuun Lun Warrior. Now this card was actually very good. It's a 1 and a red 2/2 human warrior hero, not legendary, but I only had one copy, so it doesn't really matter if it was legendary. But when it enters, I can sack an artifact or discard a card, and if I do, draw a card. Now this had a lot of synergy with one other card in the deck to get land cards in my graveyard. You'll see it in a minute, but just having the filtering on a 2/2 body and an aggressive deck was good enough, and this was a good card. Speed Young Avenger is a 1 and a red legendary mutant hero with haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1. When you do, target creature with haste can't be blocked except by creatures with haste. This is the only creature in the deck that has haste naturally. There's one other that can gain haste, but when I played this, I paid the 1 time, so it made itself unblockable 1 time. Didn't really pan out as like a good card, but again, we were just trying to lower the curve, play aggressive Magic, and just being a 2-mana 2/2 haste was good enough. Mole Man, Moloid Master, is a 3-mana 1/1, 2 and a green, for a legendary human villain. You may play land cards from your graveyard, so that's where the warrior came in handy. This allowed me to pitch the lands into the graveyard, and then on a following turn, I could play Mole Man and put the land from the graveyard onto the battlefield. Whenever a land card enters, I create a 1/1 green minion creature token named Moloid, with whenever this token attacks, mill a card. I did make quite a few tokens with this. It wasn't super impactful. It did help out in one of the games having the disposable 1/1 bodies. I only ended up attacking with one of them and milling 1 card, which is probably a card that I wanted to draw, but, you know, it could have been a land. It kind of fuels itself, but this is a good card and another rare in green, which is why I really wanted to go green. Iron Fist Living Weapon is a 2 and a red legendary human warrior hero, 2/3. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, he gains tap, he deals damage equal to his power to any other target. So this was really just a filler creature. When I was building the deck there at the end, I was really light on creatures, so I decided to stick this in. His ability didn't really come up. There's only a couple cards in the deck that target creatures I control, so I didn't end up using the deals damage to anything effect. And honestly, I think I discarded him 1 time off the warrior to draw a card, so it was just filler. It was fine. It made the deck because I didn't really have any better options. Now here's a good one that paid off. Hercules, Prince of Power. 2 and a green for a 3/3. That's it. Except he has power up for 4 and a green. Put a +1/+1 counter on him. He gains Vigilance, Indestructible, and Haste until end of turn. That's where speed could come in. And I could have given Hercules unblockable if I ever powered him up, but it never came up in any games, so it was just fine. The fact that Hercules is just a 3-mana 3/3 made it strong enough to help me win a game. And really, that's all that matters. So it ended up being a good card. Doc Samson, Super Psychiatrist, is a 4 and a green legendary Gamma Doctor hero. 3/6. If 1 or more counters will be put on a permanent you control, instead that many +1 of those counters are put on that permanent instead. So nice little hardened scales effect. He has a mana ability to add X mana of any one color where X is his power. I never actually added mana with him. He was just a beater, and I'll tell you how he won me a game later on, but Doc Samson was one of the MVPs. Wakandan Royal Guard is a 4 and a green 4/4 with Vigilance. Whenever he enters, I put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature. But if that creature is a hero, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it instead. So this is what I meant at the beginning by saying my early game plan depended on the villain subtype, and then my late game plan really cared about heroes. This is one of those cards that cares about heroes. So put 2 +1/+1 counters on a hero, make them bigger, blah blah blah. This was just a solid creature because it's a 4-mana, or it's a 5-mana 4/4, and it had Vigilance, so it could block. But being such an aggressive deck, didn't really worry about that. It was just the boost in power that really made it worth it. Go Nuts is a 1 green sorcery with Teamwork 3. I really love the Teamwork mechanic. Choose one, but if the spell was cast using Teamwork, choose both. So Teamwork works like Convoke. You can tap creatures with power up to the Teamwork number, and then if you do, you get both effects instead of just one. So for this one, you can either put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, or target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. I did use the Teamwork on this to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature and fight something to get it out of the way. It's just a solid card. Not much more to say about it than that. Giant Growth. 1 mana instant. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. So this was one of the 2 cards that can target something for Iron Fist if that were to ever come up. It didn't, and I never cast Giant Growth, but because I was such an aggressive deck and tried to be so low to the ground, an extra 3 damage in combat may have came in handy at some point, but it never did. Hawkeye's Bow. This thing did come in handy, and it was a tank. It's a 1 mana red equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and gains reach, and whenever the equipped creature becomes tapped, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. This thing put in work. That 1 damage that it gives just by putting it on a creature and attacking with it, turning it sideways, added up, and it only equips for 1. So if you ever have any extra mana laying around, you can just equip it to a different creature, so on and so forth. Such a good card, really came in handy, adding damage up at pre-release. Vibranium Energy Daggers. 1 mana indestructible equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, and it equips for 3. Never cast this card. This was my 23rd card. The only reason it was even in the deck was because I decided to run the Hydra Assault Robot, and it just gave it more fodder to deal more damage. But it really didn't have any impact on any games. I don't even know if I drew it. So, but that's why it was in the deck. I actually opened 3 of these in my pool, and I just decided to run 1 because it's 1 mana. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Maybe late in the game I can equip 3 and give a creature +2/+2 and close it out. But it never came up. Blazing Crescendo is a 1 in a red instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn, and then I can exile the top card of my library until end of turn, or until the end of your next turn. You can play that card. So this is another card that could have worked with Iron Fist targeting my opponent. Mostly it was just in there to provide extra reach, giving a creature +3 power, but I fired it off at my opponent's instep, targeting their creature just to get a free exile out of it on turn 2 in 1 game. So it was a pretty sneaky way to use it, but it's just in here because it's a solid pump spell. Hawk Smash. One of the MVPs of the deck for sure. It's 1 in a red for an instant. Teamwork 4. Choose 1. If the spell was cast using Teamwork, choose both, so it's one of those. Destroy target non-creature artifact, or target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. Never blew up an artifact with this. Hawk Smash, just a great removal spell if you have big creatures, which a lot of the times I did because I was either stacking counters on them or I just had bigger creatures than my opponent. So it was able to get them out of the way. And not only did I have 1 of these in the deck, I had 2. Definitely one of the MVPs, but not the best card. Lightning Strike. Deals 3 damage to any target. Tried and true. Solid 2 mana burn spell. Never went face with it. Really just removed blockers with it, or problem permanents, or problem creatures. But Lightning Strike is always going to be good if you're playing red. So I was happy to have 1 copy in my sealed pool. Restorative Technique. It's 2 and a green. Target player gains 2 life, then searches their library for a basic land, puts it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffles, and then you can put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. So the one time I did cast this to ramp, I didn't have a creature to put a counter on. But with the aggressive strategy that I was trying to run, that really would have came in handy. The gaining the 2 life is good to get you out of like a race, or to win a race situation since you're an aggressive deck, and ramping a basic land, especially with our low land count that I chose to run in this deck. We'll get to that, but it was a solid card. I really enjoyed having this. Dependable Quinjet. It's a 3 mana, 3/3 vehicle with flying that adds a mana of any color, and it's got crew 4. So just like with the Undercover Scroll, having the extra mana production actually comes in handy, even though it is a 3 mana rock. But late in the game, if you have a couple of 1/1s and a 2/2 creature, which I did in one game, you can crew this and you can get a 3/3 flyer. Flyers are very good in this format, and when I did that, I swung out with a big trampling creature and this, and they couldn't block. So that closed out the game. So this was actually higher than I expected it to be. I really just ran it because, again, my pool was not the deepest. I didn't have that many green or red cards. All my bombs were in green. So I really just ran this for the mana production, but it ended up working out. It was a good ad. And here is truly the MVP of my whole pre-release. World War Hawk. 5 mana, 3 and 2 green for a saga. On chapter 1, the next red or green creature spell you cast, you can cast without paying its mana cost. So that was a way that I could put Doc Samson in for free. So I pretty much paid 5 mana for a 5 mana and got 10 mana worth of cards out on the board. So that was truly a boss move. Then on chapter 2, I put the 3+1/+1 counters on Doc Samson, but because of Doc Samson's ability, it added an extra. So it became a 7/10. Then the last ability went off. Choose target creature you control until end of turn, double its power and toughness, and it gains trample. So Doc Samson ended up becoming huge. I ended up equipping the Hawkeye's bow to it. So not only did it get another point of power, but when it became tapped, it also dealt damage to opponents. So that was one way that I ended up closing out a game. But World War Hawk is just a solid card. It gives you mana value beyond because it lets you cast a creature for free. And because I was trying to beat down those 3+1/+1 counters that it added on chapter 2, really made all the difference, and the trample on the last chapter ended up closing out a lot of games. Now we get to the mana base. 16 lands in this mana base. Now, the reason I went with 16 was because the curve was very low. Nothing went over 5. I'm running green, super deep green. I had the one dual land, the game land, when it enters gain 1 life, it adds a red or a green. Just to fix me, I don't think I actually played this land. I may have drawn it, but I never gained a life off of it. But sometimes a life gain makes all the difference. So we ran 16 lands. So we ran 1 dual land. We have 6 mountains because we wanted to be heavy green. There's really not that much red commitment. There's no double red pips. They're all green mana pips. So then we decided to run 9 forests. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 9 forests. So that's pretty much how the deck was built. I really enjoyed pre-release. The format at large, it's not a super fast format. This deck I built specifically to get under decks that were trying to be ambitious with their color, or like more controlling decks, like more removal heavy decks. I was just trying to deal as much damage as possible to try to get the unbeatable Squirrel Girl out. But like I said, I never cast her, but I did win all the games I played. It was a fun deck, and I'm looking forward to more Marvel Superheroes Limited. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Cream reviews in the future. But until next time, folks, have fun with the Marvel Superhero set. This is Cream. I'll see you next time.